Barbados, get up.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
Good morning, Barbados. Good morning to you wherever you are as well. Welcome to today. Today is Monday, the 5th of January, 2026. I'm Pearson Bowen. Good having you company. Thank you so much for waking up to make us company as well. And for those of you who are joining us on our streams on Facebook, YouTube, and our website, cbc.bb, thank you for doing so. I ask one thing as always, every day of you, which is to share the show, bring others by, let them engage in what we do as well. And as always, if you know of something or someone whose story has to be told, then I'd like you to tell us about it. And you can do so by sending us an email. The email address is on your screen. That email address is morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Send your emails to us with your suggestions and encourage us to find some new talent as well. We can't wait to hear from you. And we thank you for engaging with us in the ways that you already do. Someone is celebrating a birthday today. Somebody, somewhere, somehow is marking a significant occasion today. And to you, we say congratulations. We wish you well, whether it is the birthday or the anniversary. May it be glorious indeed. My question to you, though, is how did you spend your time at the weekend? I'm not just asking you how was your weekend. How did you spend your time at the weekend? You were given time, and so as a matter of gratitude, I hope you took some time to go to church. Church was awesome yesterday. My experience in church yesterday was absolutely awesome. I want to encourage you this year, 2026, to consider your journey in your relationship with God. It's important. It's important for many, many reasons. And so get into church, reconnect, realign, renew, all of those kinds of things you can do again, because you will see the change in your lived experience. So I encourage you to consider church indeed today. Now, coming today, I do have a question to ask of you, but today we want to take a look at those things that are driving our young men to the margins, and in some cases breaking them as well. We want to get some answers to those questions that we may have, and we want you to pay close attention because it might very well be someone you're living with. Today also, the Barbados Police Service is engaging yet again on another recruitment drive. They're looking for you in a good way this time. They're looking for you. We want to hear what's the criteria, what are the opportunities that avail within the service, and just how important it is that we all step up and step forward to be a part of the Barbados Police Service. January, as you know, annually is Drug Awareness Month, and so the National Council on Substance Abuse will be with us this morning as we look at the number of activities, but we also want to hear what the statistics are saying. What are those things that cause them pause and great concern? How are our young people engaging, and in what substances? And what are some of the solutions? They'll join us this morning as well to talk a little bit more about that. Plus, this morning we'll meet a man who decided the kitchen was not just his playground, it has become his profession. And so we'll hear from him how he has been able to whip up new and interesting things, a lot of it quite local, and get a sense of what it means to use one's talent in the way that he has, and how can our education system respond to that desire of his to be a chef. Can't wait to talk to him a little bit more about that. But as we get ready to go to a break, I want you to think of this one, because after break I want to hear from you. I have a question for you, and a very, very serious question indeed. I want to hear from you. If, look at the screen, if you could invest in one solution to help at-risk young men, what would it be? Look at it. These are some options here. If you could invest in one solution to help at-risk young men, what would it be? Would it be youth employment opportunities? I don't know if that's your way of investing. Could it be drug prevention programs, sports and cultural activities, parent-child counseling and mental health services, or mentorship by positive males role models? What could your investment be? Think about it, because after the break, we'll be taking your calls on 228-5562 or 228-5563. That's going to inform us as we continue our conversations this morning. So get ready. I'm waiting for your calls coming up right after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about solar ray, microbiome, probiotics, and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV 8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount, sponsored by Get Healthy Incorporated.
98.1 The One, your number one party station. With an audience from 18 to 40, we keep you engaged, energized, and entertained. Choose 98.1 FM, The One.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So we're almost 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. Time for you to give me a call, 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let me know. I want to hear from you, your investment. What would that one investment in our at-risk young men be? What would that be? What do you think that would be? How would you, and this investment doesn't necessarily mean cash. It could just mean you and your time, your ears, your heart, your compassion. How could you invest? Think about it very, very seriously. How could you? 228-5562 or 63. I know a number of you look at some young men and you think to yourself, what are they doing? Why are they squandering the opportunities through life given to them? And you wish you could. So if you could, what would that investment be? What would that one thing you wish you could do to really make a big difference? What could that possibly be? I want to hear from you. So call me now, 228-5562. or 228-5563. How would you use your time to make such a significant difference? That's what I want to hear from you. 228-5562 or 63. Could it be youth employment opportunities? Do you think that more of our young men need employment opportunities? And could you provide that? Have you thought for just a second that maybe you could do that? What about drug prevention programs? How can you engage with those drug prevention programs in a significant way to make a difference to our at-risk young men? What about sports and cultural activities? Boys just love to burn off energy. Have you thought about developing and designing some programs that can respond to those needs? What about parent-child counseling and mental health services? Just an ear, just a moment of talking to someone, or to make an at-risk young man feel that he is loved in some way because you have just embraced him and welcomed him into your family. What is that? What is it? 228-5562 or 228-5563. How can you help? How can you help? Or is this too tough for you? Is this really too tough for you? Because it meets you at a point where you ask yourself, oh my goodness, have I done enough? That's okay to be uncomfortable. It is really okay to be uncomfortable. It is in that discomfort that you rev up the energy sufficiently to say, no, as of today, I want to do something about it. How can you? What would that one thing be? Are you a leader in church, whether it's a youth organization or a youth component of church or otherwise? What can you do? And I'm saying young people because young people tend to oftentimes think that's the work and the mission of older people. Anyone of any age, at any stage, can make a difference, can add their contribution to the overall good. And so what can you do? What can you do? Before we're done today, by the way, because school starts tomorrow for the children, the teachers start today, we will give you some little tips to help the little ones get themselves back into the frame of mind, and some reminders for you as parents and guardians as well of the things that you need to do to provide our young people as they get ready to head back into formal education through schools. This is really too tough for you guys? Is that really the case? You've not given thought to this before? You've never asked yourself, how could I add to a solution or bring a solution to help our young men? You've never asked yourself that? I think that's an indictment on our community, an indictment on our society, and you know who lives in our society? You. And so we all are called upon to examine self and examine our thoughts and our hearts to see how can we make a difference. And if we have not yet been satisfied with what we hear coming back to us as a response to that question, then we need to do something about that. That is what I'll say. But joining me this morning, right now as we get started, is Roger Husbands, who is the Director of Drug Education and Counseling Services. Roger, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Pierce. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Well rested.
Because I was coming to my question, how did you use your time last weekend?
Well, yes, I'm on vacation, so I was sleeping, I was resting, because the work that we do is so much, it's great. And the body is not as young as it used to be before. So I took some time to rest.
So much, so great. Why do you say that?
In terms of the vacation?
No, you said the work we do is so much, so great.
Right.
Why do you say that?
It's because we've been doing a lot of work with the young people in Barbados. As I was explaining to the producer, we have so much. Last year was a great number of young people. I think in our numbers, we haven't tallied the ones for November, October, but coming close is over 800 young people accessing services at our facility. 800 and something. And it tells you that there is some problem or issue in our country, and we seem to be again turning a blind eye to it. The court systems are referring them, probation referring them, the Nichols, which is the detention schools, referring them. Schools themselves don't know what to do and referring them. Parents just walking in and say, I am at my wit's end with this child. And so we've had to increase our counseling portfolio. So we moved from 12 counselors to 18. That was not even enough, right? Our facility, which Sandy Lane Charitable Trust built for us, is now too small. And we have to now go back to the table to see how are we going to this year deal with the challenges of so many young people coming and not enough rooms to really hold them. We meet with them in the mentorship program on Saturdays, and I can tell you the room is full this time. I've had to do 3 sessions a Saturday. It's as though you're doing a church, like church, you know, where you have too much people you do 2 or 3 services. Well, we have to have 3 services during the Saturday just to accommodate the numbers.
Break those numbers down for me. What percentage is males versus females?
I'm glad you said that. So we still having the males as a majority, right? About 10% of that is females.
Is that alarming?
And that is alarming because we've never had that big amount of young ladies before that we are seeing now. But the young ladies are coming now. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's right to say that some of them are behaving as though feminine stuff that we are accustomed to is no longer an issue, and they're coming rough, they're coming angry, they're coming ready to fight, they're armed, you know, some of them are smoking and using drugs, so there is an alarm of young people coming, and the girls are shocking me. This year I predict, based upon what I'm sorry that I have to do that sometimes, but you know, based upon my statistics, I do. You know, that we're going to see a lot more younger girls coming to the center or getting involved in deviant behavior in our nation.
Are you tracking the age demographics as well?
Yes, of course, and the younger. Well, we are now seeing the younger ones. Now we also work with on the panel with the juvenile court, and I'm so glad that the Attorney General and the magistrates are now, well, not now, but they have been before, deciding not to incarcerate a child or to send a child to GIS, but to send them to get some help. That is impactful, that's important. And because of all that work with the young people, we're able now to see young ages who have been out there, assault, you know, wounding, drugs. As you know, wandering is no longer in the law, but so therefore there's no need for that anymore. But we used to have that a lot before. We've had domestic violence where even a child beating a mother, a child beating a father, whatever the case may be. So we've had a diverse amount of stuff coming in, but the ages are getting younger. Right now, our youngest age is about 10 years old, and we go right down to 18. Well, matter of fact, we're far beyond 18 as well too, because there are some magistrates now sending 58-year-olds and 60-year-olds that are still committing crime in this nation.
When you begin to dig beneath all of those statistics, what are you seeing as the root causes of this deviance?
Man, if I had to, if I had to pull apart everything, I would say parenting is one of the major issues. A lot of these boys, Pearson, oh my God, I can't get Barbados to understand it at all. A lot of these boys are crying out for their fathers, are crying out for love, crying out for attention. And you might be saying, well, the parents, you may be sharing love or whatever the case may be, but they might not be sharing it the way the child wants it. Giving child a food and not spending time with it. You know what I'm saying? When the child really want the time, when the child really want the inspiration and the nice words and the encouragement, you know, we tend to think that feeding them and clothing them is all we need to do. And that is not true. A lot of them are missing. Some of their fathers that died, and the mothers are trying their best to get them therapy in terms of the grief therapy. Some of them are in prison. Some of their fathers on the street mentally gone. Some have left the island and gone overseas and have not returned, have not made any significant calls. So Pearson, put yourself in a child's mind who angry, don't know, can't understand why the boy don't love him. He goes this place, they don't like he. They go to school, they don't like he. They go to church, he's obviously not at the attention. And then when he goes out on the block and find that love and that attention, you know, he might not say love you boss, but they can say, yeah bro, you're my nigga, you're my dog. You understand? And that kind of respect. And now all they have to do now is to join what the fellas doing. What are we doing? We can all do it together. Some of these youngsters on the block, which I don't understand, some of those youngsters on the block got ADHD, ADD, ODC, or OCD. I mean, the main mashup. But yet youngsters who don't have those complexes are following these youngsters who are already in their mind are potential criminals, or potential to become criminals, or they're doing criminal activity, and they're going to follow them. And therefore, when we go into the justice system now to see those youngsters, a lot of them are innocent, a lot of them just was there. But because they're around people who are accustomed committing crime and have practiced that over the years, have seen that over the years, is a cause for alarm.
So there are a couple of things. The home and then the community. In the home, you're saying, as much as it might be nuclear, man and woman and their mother, father in the house, yet still the boy child feels as though he is not a part, or his father doesn't quite validate him in the way that he does. Mm-hmm. There might be situations, as you said, where the father is absent from that particular nuclear family, and so the boy feels abandoned of some sort. But there are also situations where the father is not absent and not responsible. In the sense that he's making his contribution, having conversation, and like, yet still the child responds in the way it does. Yeah. Do you meet that as well?
Yeah, we do that. We do meet that. We have some fathers that do come to the sessions. They know, you know, understanding some of the mistakes that they've made over the years. We have a very vibrant parents program where parents come out and we talk about a number of topics. The discussions are very heated at some points in time. They're very good at some points in time. And they now realize, hey, I have made some mistakes. How could I correct this? And although there might be a father in the house, it don't mean that the child is going to receive the love and care that they need.
So being present is not all.
Being present is not all. Spending time is big.
We're going to get to some solutions for sure. We're going to find out how we can guide people to turning that around. But then there's the community. And that's why we asked the question at the beginning, what can we as a community and individuals within this community do? How can we invest in programs that can help or at-risk young people? Talk to me a little bit about the harshness of this community and that the reality that these young people are saying that they're facing every day.
Well, the community has lost its responsibility. It's lost itself. And we've now created a different culture within the communities. And more so, it is about dress up, look good, party. You know, we no longer, we shutting we mouth, we not doing, there's this big thing now called snitching. All of a sudden, no, nobody wants to snitch. And in other words, I see the fact that, you know, if you tell the police what's happening or you inform people what's going on, that is your responsibility. It has nothing to do with snitching. It's just that I'm protecting my community with my children around, with my family around. So if you are doing drugs and you got guns over here, I'm going to tell people what's going on because I care about my family. And so some people think about the snitching thing and you snitching get stitches and all kind of thing. And it's stopped the community from actually engaging in the issues and the problems that are within their community. So if communities start to look at the fact, look, I don't want these guys in my community. Let's fight back against these men. Let's get the police involved. Let's get community workers involved. Let's get programs together so that we can help our young people. Somebody in communities got to rise up at some point in time and say, look, we've had enough. How much more got to die before we actually start to get our act together? It cannot be the government alone. It cannot be NGOs alone. It cannot be the church alone. People in communities have to take responsibility. Let me tell you something. If I had children that were young now, I would be concerned about my community, and therefore I'm encouraging people who might be watching this to say to yourself, like you posed the question earlier, what can you do? You live in the community. You want gun shooting all the time. You want fear. Your children can't even rumble how they want to rumble. You can't leave your door open as you used to. Do you want to live in that type of fear? I know Jamaica at some point in time lived in there. A pastor came like myself and we said, look, they got gangs in Barbados. He said that. The people in Jamaica ignore him. And look what happened. Same thing happened to me. I came and informed the public, hey, this is happening in our society. And the boy listened, but look, we got no. Because of the issue, because we don't realize that these are problems that could reach our very door. How many young people we could have saved? How many, if people would have just got up and be responsible? I don't know this Barbados that we have now.
We're going to take a look at some solutions right after this break, but I was still leaving that question on the table for you to call and respond to. That question remains. If you could invest in one solution to help at-risk young men, what would that solution be? What would your level of investment be? Could it be in youth employment opportunities, drug prevention programs, sports and cultural activities, parent-childhood counseling and mental health services, or could it be mentorship? What could it be? I still want to hear from you, so please give us a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we want to look at the way forward because the story is not all bad. We'll be back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're with Roger Husbands, who is the Director of Drug Education and Counseling Services. We're looking at being at risk. Our young people, as you've just heard in the other segments, he said, our young people are at risk. Our community in itself is a significant contributor to that at-risk behavior, family included, and the lack of proper parenting, whether it's the absence of one parent or another, and the urge and the desperate need for love of our young people and our young men in particular. And so, Roger, solutions. The story doesn't end there with the problems alone. I know there are things that you guys are doing. You mentioned a little bit more about mentorship and everything else as well. Right. How can we as a community become a little bit more observant of and be responsive to the cries of our young people?
Well, first of all, before I start, I want to also say that we are seeing a lot of new faces as well.
What do you mean by new faces?
Right. So there are a lot of younger people who are coming into the system, whether committing crime or doing some kind of giving trouble at school or giving trouble at home. There are a lot of new faces.
You're saying people you would never have
saw before, or never thought would see before. These schools as well too are changing in their facets. So before you still had a group of people or more people from a particular type of secondary schools, as you know, but now you're seeing them in these schools that you never thought would be there. Now the classes as well, you're seeing them in different classes, different races as well. So religion as well. right? So we are seeing a cross mix of young people coming, and the faces are new. Imagine if we don't stop this. So some of the solutions, if I was in the community, working in my community, I want to know where the programs are. How could I get involved in the programs? Whether it be feeding programs, community programs, sports programs, mentorship programs. I want to be engaged, because even if I personally know something, sometimes this mentorship or this assistance, it might be a half an hour. It might be 15 minutes. It might be home cooking up a meal. It might be home cutting some sandwiches for children who meet in a community center. But whatever you do is still a help to the NGO. So I want to know where the communities are, what's happening in my community. I want to know how we could assist. Then I want to get some training. There's so much training across the nation. We provide training as well. You could go to any NGO and get training. How could I be a good mentor? How could I be a counselor? What are some steps I need to take? In terms of parenting, oh my goodness, Barbados has a lot of programs. A lot of programs that can assist parents. There are parenting programs, parenting seminars, parenting training, you name it, they got it. And so parents ain't got no excuse. There are too much counseling facilities as well too. Oh my goodness, you try to tell me you can't find one? There is one in every community. The government has set up counseling facilities. NGOs out there, charitable organizations are out there. All you have to do is call. Yes, granted, maybe one or two of them might be at cost, but the cost is not a lot. We are free. So if you come to me, you bring your child to us. The sessions are free of cost. Some charge $15, $20. What is that towards?
Yeah. A lot of us, and it's a behavior. It's a behavior, whether it's learned or otherwise. And the reason for people absenting themselves from being a part of, have you studied that? Why are parents and adults so afraid to come forward and say, I want to?
I think sometimes parents don't understand the necessity to do it. I think they think that the child is going through a phase.
Oh, it's a phase.
Yeah, the child, he becoming a man, so he's trying to find himself, and so they don't recognize that sometimes these are signs for help. A child behaving different than what it was is crying out for help. You know this child. You know when the child start hanging around wrong friends, the child start doing things he ain't supposed to do, he or she is crying out for help. Why not get some help? All right, say for instance it's puberty. Just let me say puberty. At least the counseling process has started. Might be the counselor is able to dive into things that your mother never thought she needed to address. How simple that is to solve that issue before it gets worse. But to say, boy, just in puberty, he's getting taller. And leave him alone can create problems not only for you, your family, but the society as well. And so what we have to understand is that these facilities are there. Parents don't need to be scared. Nobody judging you. Matter of fact, when people come to our office, you don't even know what you're coming for. You can come in for classes, you can come in for whatever it is, you understand? So when you come, you're coming to get some help for your family because you want, your family not to be involved in crime and go through the issues that many are facing today.
But we live in a judgmental society as well, that says, wait, I saw Peter, tiny, it's really tiny folks, so just big it up for me. I saw Peter go in there, so Peter might be having a problem at home. And I wonder which of Peter's children has that problem at home. And how is it that Peter is so big in the church and Peter's having this problem at home? That whispery part of our community, that is part of the issue, why people don't present, don't you think?
People are always in people's business, and that's stopping a lot of people from doing things that they're supposed to do, And so I don't know how you can get past that one, but I'm hoping people just look beyond that and say, well, you know what? I don't care what you say. At the end of the day, you're going to see me in the newspaper.
Right. One of our commenters on social media says, I would want to start with mentorship, Pearson. All scholars can give back by going into the schools before our teens are put into our crazy world trying to find themselves. Big brother, big sister. Yeah. That's a recommendation.
And that's one of the most important things. Last year, early, the Lord said to me that the major thing to help our young people in this generation is mentorship. Mentorship is important. Discipleship was important in Jesus' days. Mentorship is important now because our young people are fatherless, some of them motherless, some of them parentless, some of them being parented by people that ain't really want to do it, but because the mother, father died or the father and mother left or whatever, they ain't got no choice. We have young people that are going through a lot of things that need somebody who's stable, who is loving and caring to take up that responsibility. So mentorship, I agree, this person mentorship is quite important. We right now looking for mentors. I've sent out flyers. Oh Lord, I'm praying, Pearson, that we get some responses because we need the help. It's not that we have, it's not that we want to be, I don't know, whatever. We need the help. We really need people to come on board, and you'll be surprised. Let me show you something. You'll be surprised you're home and you don't think you could do nothing in society. You can't read and write, you can't this and that. You'll be surprised how you come in a session and just say one or two things in that session and it turn a child's life around.
The word mentorship scares a lot of people. It's also a bigger word. Patricia Ben is saying, I would be like a mother or grandmother, take hold of him, sit him down and explain life to him the way my mother and grandmother sat me down and explained the do's and don'ts of life. That's mentorship.
That's mentorship.
And so that's spending time as well. You know, many of us, I'm one of those who grew up next door to my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. And so for us, it was spending time in her kitchen, picking rice, shelling peas, and all the while listening to words of wisdom from her as the do's and don'ts of those. It's as simple as that. It's not complicated.
It's not complicated.
And we tend to complicate things simply because of words. So when you say mentorship, it's like, what are you talking about? Do I have to go to school for this?
Yeah, we don't think we have enough time or we don't have enough resources or whatever. That's not true. A 15-minute would change a child's life. Let me show you something. I was telling your producer the incident that happened recently in our nation. One of the boys, he was among that group. We were able to bring him out. We were able to work with him, mentor him. He changed his thought pattern. He started to go back to school. And he called and said, look, if he did not had this opportunity, he would have been one of those guys. And the issue is that you just take that time to mentor, you take that time to inspire, you take that time to motivate. And these kind of things are important. Imagine, now, you said it earlier. Imagine today, somebody who's watching here goes out and say, hey, I'm going to go and mentor somebody. I'm going to share a good word with somebody and change completely that person's life.
Just so. One is saying here, where are the grandparents? She's asking, Celine, where are the grandparents who used to pay so much care to the grandchildren years ago? There's been a great shift in a negative attitude of a lot of Barbadians. Where are you, Isolene? Are you a grandparent, by the way? Do you spend sufficient time? I want us to stop looking at other people and saying, what are y'all doing? Ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I doing enough? What more can I do? How else could I do it to make the kind of breakthrough that we're all seeking to have with our at-risk young men? In particular, we're seeing more and more young girls coming forward, yes, but our at-risk young men, because we see them blasted across the paper and social media everywhere, we want to change all of that. And so what can I do? Let's turn to me for just a moment. We can ask, yes, where are the grandparents? We know where they are. We see them. We see them. But ask yourself, what about you? How else can you help? Tony Grant, thank you. She says parent and child engagement at an early start, feeding them, mentoring them, education, nurturing, in other words. That's what I'm hearing you to say.
All of that is important. Oh my goodness, if we can. Okay, so this lady, Tony Grant, that's here. Say, for instance, that she decides, you know what? I have my children, but let me add one. Let me just add one. Imagine if Sarah, somebody down the road, take another one, and another boy take another one, and soon later everybody starts to use that as that is the thing we do in Barbados now. We mentor children who are fatherless, motherless, parentless, who don't have anybody around. If my children have friends, they are now mine as well too. And we are mentoring, we're doing that same thing. She said, discussions, topics, what do you think about this? We keep them under our wing. You know what we could do in Barbados? We could change the very facet of Barbados by people just being energized to do something about their community. Why are we allowing drug lords and drug dealers who are making money to support their families to corrupt this nation? Why are we allowing these gangsters with guns and want to shoot people run this country when there are more of us who are about good things that we can get together, energize each other, and do something about it? You talked about the men just. Let me just have a word with the men for a little bit. Men, you are so important. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you. Look, even you, Pearson, you are important. Imagine if Pearson goes out there and touch the hearts of young men by how you speak. Some of the young men would love to do it, but they don't know how to. Nobody don't teach them. Nobody teach them how to speak well in English, how to dress well, how to be, because they are just following the one another, peering each other. And men who are out there right now, you might not gotten a big degree, you might not be able to speak well. I can't speak well myself neither, but I still do the job. You might not think, you might have gone through divorce, you might have gone through whatever, you might be even lost. There are programs that will help structure you and show you your importance, because all of us on this earth, whether you like it or not, listen carefully, you have a purpose, you have a destiny on this earth, and God called you for that. So men, don't ever think you're not valuable. There is a young man, even if it's one, that is out there waiting on you to get your back strong, to get yourself together, so that you can help him to become a man as well.
So how does that man start the process of restoration of self, so that he is able to be strong enough to have that back that you're talking about to support the other young boy?
Yeah, but first of all, you got to recognize that he has a purpose. After you recognize that, find out what that purpose is. Go and get some counseling, get some help, talk to a pastor, talk to somebody, talk to a friend. How could I be more helpful in society? Think about all these things, the questions you have there just now. If he looks at any of those questions and say, well, look, could I do this one? You might be an old footballer, might used to play cricket. That is a part, that's a big one there, that you can help mentor young people in terms of cricket and football.
Sandy Field-Kelman tells us here, she says, people are not connecting with the children.
Because they don't understand them.
The children?
Yeah, and the language has changed, the attitude has changed, the culture has changed because of the music and videos and all kind of thing has shifted our young people. So now it's time to retrain. And that's what we do in our program, our parenting programs. I do a whole presentation on the new child, the new generation of the child, how to understand, when they say this language, what does it mean, the different names of gangs, different signs and symbols, so that parents are aware of how to connect with children. And you'll be surprised. Say, no, I have a child, tell a child, hey, how was your day? Gee, Pearson, that is a big one. How was your day? Just to say, how was your day? That's all. You'll be surprised how that child can open up and share about the day. And you being interested makes them want to know, continue talking.
They also have a little bit of fear, because it's like, why are you wanting to know my business?
Yeah, but if they get, it's true, but if they get accustomed to it, but if they ain't if we ain't saying nothing at all.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I totally agree with you. But, in asking a question, be prepared to listen.
Yes, be prepared to listen.
Not
be prepared
just with your ears, but with your heart.
Correct. Being engaged is important.
Correct. Bako was saying, we get it all here. He's in New York. Some of what you are talking about takes me back to when I was growing up. Big up to this gentleman. So he's saying big up to you.
Oh, thank you.
And your organization, the work you do.
Yeah.
But you said you have to bend the tree when it's young. Don't wait until it is half grown to try to bend it.
Yeah.
And we abdicate our responsibility as leaders and as parents and caregivers to other forces.
Yeah.
And Iselene is reminding us that we have a real responsibility to actively care.
Yeah.
Don't be in such a rush to become the friend that you don't realize that you have a responsibility to how this child is raised.
That's correct. And there are methods out there. There's simple ways. All a parent needs to do, right? This all a parent needs to do. That. Say to yourself that I am a parent. I birthed this child. I'm the father of this child. I'm the mother of this child. I have a responsibility. Okay, I might not have all the training and the tools necessary to help this child right now. Let me partner with somebody else who could assist me, give me the tools that I need to help go back to then deal with the problem. If I want to be a carpenter, I can't just say I'm a carpenter. I go and get training on how to be a carpenter. Unfortunately, in this generation, you got training with these children itself, because again, a lot of young people are being diagnosed with disorders. So therefore, parents are finding it difficult of how to manage a child. Imagine managing a child with ADHD and you don't got a clue what it is. You don't got a clue where that child's skipping all over the place or doing the dog. You don't have a clue. But training would assist with that.
We hear a lot recently in conversation, community-wise, about reading and comprehension, the lack thereof, and how that presents also or contributes to the overall problem. Are you seeing that?
Yes, please. We've actually had to start in our program. We have a second chance lessons that's a part of our program. And we have a remedial class. Pearson, just to say, out of all the classes that we have over maybe about 40 science classes. Out of all of those courses, the one that I love the most is the remedial class. You're seeing children that come in and learning. We got now 16, 18-year-olds, 19. We got 30-something-year-old people coming to get remedial classes. We got guys who coming off the block and coming to get remedial classes because they recognize that there was a deficit. When they were growing up, they didn't learn properly, they didn't read and write properly, all those kinds. Some of them suffer from dyslexia, and some of them suffer from ADHD, but they recognize that they need to go back to school and learn, and therefore it's become very successful. Actually, matter of fact, one of our young people that was doing bad at school, the teacher told the parent, hey, stop that child from going to lessons. The parent asked why. She said because he's learning above the children now. And all they needed was that one personal attention for the teachers that we have. And so education is quite important.
What do you see coming out of the educational programs? So what change are you noticing as a consequence of the remedial classes?
More young people are empowered. We had a testimony of a young lady who she cried. She said she could not believe that she could actually pass the CSE. She did not know but because of the encouragement, the supportive staff, that encouragement, that motivation caused her to go out and succeed. And so when young people realize, wow, I can actually learn, wow, I can actually do this is possible, it makes a tremendous difference. And I want to big up people like the Youth Service and the Barbados, the Verification Training Board, Polytech, all those places that they're just dealing with young people and educating and motivating, all the teachers out there that are doing a good job in motivating these young people because it is working. If all of us do that, imagine, Pierce, you at home and you set up in your garage a little table and bring in one. If he enjoy, he could bring another one. And so forth, and more people will start to come at your table to want to learn. But somebody got to start. I mean, we got a big house and a big garage and nothing again used with it. A big, what's called the front house? The front house, the veranda.
I know what you mean, man.
A big veranda. Put a table out there with some chairs and invite the young people in the community who can't read and write properly or got challenges with education and have them come out. When you're doing that, motivate them, tell them that you can be this, you can be that, right, and inspire them.
You're answering already the question I had in my head. Sandy goes on to say, parents and people do not know how to speak to this new child. They're shouting and quarreling at them.
Because they don't understand them. And again, the children out there with natural disorders, mental issues that they have, complications that they do have, learning issues that they do have. They have these things. Unless you get the training and the understanding and the research done to understand, you will never have a good conversation. And you'll keep doing what you saw your mother did, which is shout. And naturally, there are mothers who have these disorders. Obviously, as they get older, they're no longer susceptible to it, but their children might have it as well. So at the end of the day, training is important, and having that kind of communication is important.
And you're quite right. You know, it's important. And again, we're talking training. You're using these big words that people don't get scared of because they hear training and they think, oh dear, I have to get ready and go and sit in the classroom before a tutor who will instruct me and I have to do lessons. But it's not that. That's not the environment that we're talking about.
Matter of fact, it's important to you. Because you want to be a benefit. You want to be a help to your child. You want to be a help to your community. You want to be a help to your church. You want to be a help to somebody. So don't say it as a burden. Say it as a responsibility. My goodness, God did not call you here just to sit down and pay bills. You're here for a particular reason. Why not say, let me be productive? You'll be surprised how many volunteers that volunteer other places get big jobs or get more learning or go into the field that they're volunteering because they started somewhere. You might be just looking at it as just a 15-minute or 30-minute, but it can become a lifelong career for you and a change in your lifestyle.
You had to go to church. Why you just opened something up for me? Because we'll take a break here. When we come back, I want to look at the role of the church and the benefit of the church to helping to make the change that we're all seeking to find. We're back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scold, a look into the future.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We continue our conversation here with Roger Husbands, who is leading the Drug and Education Counseling Services. We're looking at how do we, the solutions really, how do we as individuals and as a community make the difference that we all want to see? How do we move from the margins, bring back from the margins, or at-risk young men in particular? More and more young girls are also being sent for counseling, and how can we fix this problem? We love solutions, and so that's what we're looking at. Remember, the question we're asking of you is to think about this. If you could invest in one solution to help at-risk young men, what would it be? Could it be youth employment opportunities? Could it be drug prevention programming? Could it be sports and cultural activities? Could it be parent-child counseling and mental health services? Or could it be mentorship by positive male role models? All of those are the questions and the things we want to think about as you're doing. And if you care to, you can give us a call. The numbers are right there on your screen. Those numbers are 228-5562 or 228-5563. It'll give you an opportunity to really explain what you're thinking as well. So call and tell as well. I know a number of you are commenting on our social media as well and sharing your thoughts. I know we have one that we want to share with you now, a big long one. Thank you, Kieran. One kind word and change a life. Communication between parent and child is of great importance. Love in the homes, God in our homes. Our young people are leaving school in 5th and 6th form. Some are heading into the workforce, university abroad, so on. Without not even knowing how to manage, not having your parents or guardians around, it changes the culture, the weather, etc. It takes a community, a village to let our children know all that we ask of them is to be their best, to be respectful, take away the stigma of best schools, best profession, be the best carpenter that you can possibly be. Kieran, thanks for all of that. Indeed, thank you for your big long comment, girl, but at least you're thinking, you're feeling, you're activated enough to do something about it. And I hope that you're activated enough to do something today. And so, Roger, that's what we're talking about. As we took the break, I wanted to hear from you about the role of the church.
Yeah.
A lot of people have changed their perception about what church is and what church, the value of church could be to their existence. But the church is still a very active and a very real component of our lived experience. Talk to me about what you see the role of the church to be.
Yeah, and the church will always live. It will always live. But the issue is that the people in the church who have decided that this is the path that they want to do, I don't think anybody hold anybody's neck and say, well, you have to go to church. I think you decide to commit yourself to the Lord, and I believe that you committed to this wholeheartedly. Then let's see how can the church assist the community. Sometimes we look on the inside only and not on the outside. Do you know that we have a lot of members who come from all across the world to come to a church, but the people in the neighborhood not in the church? And so we have to stop that. And to stop that, we need to empower the people. Education, again, training. You realize we are doing that as a train here today. Training is important. So far, we've had 3 churches who are trained now in mentorship, how to counsel, how to work with young people with drug problems, with trauma issues, with issues at home, parenting, those kind of things. So we've been starting to train mentors and persons to work with young people in churches across Barbados. We're hoping more churches reach out. But the churches have to understand that even Jesus sat on many times and taught the people. And teaching is important. And not only biblical teaching, but you also got to teach people how to live on the earth, how to be practical. There are people in our churches who are suffering. Matter of fact, could I say, and I'm really sorry to say, but we have a lot of young people who are behaving, who are involved in crime and out there doing a lot of stuff that's not right, who come from church. who sit in church, whose parents are in church. And so therefore we, the pastors, have to understand that the people in our congregation are important enough to us that we need to expose them to how to deal with stuff, not in their own spiritual self, but also in their practical life.
I think people who go to church need to go to church actively prepared to engage in what church offers as well.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that in a minute. I have a reason why I say that, because Jennifer says, good morning, gentlemen. What I noticed is that the persons who need help are the ones with the most children. True or false? I'll continue, I'll come in a minute. True or false?
There is a truth in it.
All right, I'll come back to that in a minute to explain. They have difficulty, hence the children grow up without social skills. Yeah. Why do you say true?
Well, there are some cases. Even when she said that just now, it brought me back to a couple of parents that I know who have a lot of children. And
a couple is not all right, or the majority, but go ahead.
Yeah, that have a lot of children in their homes, and it's hard for them to manage because there's no other source of assistance. I don't know any that have a father that has a lot. I know all that I know are mothers who have a lot of children. I talk about 6 and 8 and 10 children in one home. And who, for the oldest right through, some of them have gone bad, some of them gone to prison, some of them in and out of prison. But the reality is that they're actually reaching out for some assistance and some help. So yes, there are in some cases where that is needed and the parent need help. So how could you be in a community knowing that mother got 8 and 10 children at your church or your community where I know this woman got hell on earth in her house? Give her some help. I
agree with you on the help thing. I'm number 6 of 10 children. Mm-hmm. We all grew up in one household, but you're right. We had the support. Daddy was there, yes. Daddy worked. Mommy worked. Everybody worked. Mm-hmm. And so we all contributed. I think we grew up well. Yeah. And so you're right about the community helping where the need is.
And let me go back to that point. Imagine she alone with she don't want a boyfriend, but there's a man in the church or a man in the community to come alongside of her to help her with those 10 children, to give her that support, to give her that encouragement, to give the guidance. How could we could have changed that whole entire household? Right. Because it's not that the mother don't want the help, it's that the mother don't see the fact that, there's anybody coming to reach out, and they are reaching out. The ones that I know are reaching out to get some help.
So church members need to reach out.
Church, and that is a big issue here. If the church to realize how important it is, and not just for gathering together, but they are there to help the community. Matter of fact, we are the light and the salt of the earth. So if that is the case, go there and share your little saltiness with people. Help them to become better people. Why can't the house next to the church be empowered? That other why we got to go so far out? Why we got to go overseas? Why we got to send missionary when we have work right here?
I agree. But the church is comprised of people.
Yes.
People are people. People have their own conditions managing at the same time.
Yes.
Not everyone will necessarily want to step up and step out.
Yeah.
But those who want to should do so. Yeah. And remember their purpose for being.
And how you could transform the lives of people. Yes, we want to get people in church and get people saved, but imagine just changing a child's life from ending up dead or in prison or whatever. They may not come to church, but your input was so helpful to get that child not to die without purpose, but help them to get their purpose together. That to me is important. That to me is Christian. That to me is what Christ would want to do.
Programs and preaching. Because the church has a lot of programs, whether it's an arts program, some kind of program.
Yes.
And so young people show up for those programs, but that never somehow moves them into a pew on a regular assembly for church.
Yeah.
How is the church tackling that?
By move the child on the block, because the block got the activities, it got the support, you got my nigga dog, you got all the knocking, you understand? You got the dress looking the same way, they don't feel judged on the block. There are many different things on the block that is quite different to church. A matter of fact, when young people come and say that they go to church, they stoops, they don't want to, they sleep, they don't candy, because we are not catering to that demographic. Why would we cater that demographic with the can't pay an offering? And as a pastor, I could say, but the demographic of the young person, not recognizing that same young person becomes the inheritance of that same assembly. Why is it that the churches are so small in number now and members are leaving? COVID caused a lot of problems, yes. And our churches are still trying to recover. But there are young people out there who can be so passionate about church. I'm so passionate about God. I'm so passionate, but we're not targeting that. We're not training people to target them. Coming in your church can be your church. Coming in, got people with ADHD and ADD. Do you know to deal with them when they come? Or you say, sit down, behave yourself. Or you can get the training so that you know how to say to that person, okay, breathe in, breathe out, okay, calm yourself down, get the training that's necessary. So pastors, if you're watching today, I'm encouraging you to get some training. There are too many people up there. Matter of fact, Drug Awareness Month is this month. NCSA, why wouldn't you want to get NCSA in your church to do training? Why would you not want to? To get your people informed of drugs and what they are and what they look like and what could cause. I mean, you called it earlier, it is a, well, I can't remember words. You use a big word just now.
Nonetheless, Islam says, in this case of a church, I think it comes down to peer pressure. Peer pressure is very strong and can be a problem for a weak child just trying to fit in.
Yeah, of course it is. It was for us when we were younger. So it is even worse now than it was every time. And so young people trying to fit in, they have now the image of this social media to deal with as well.
But go ahead.
So I mean, at the end of the day, the young people are under tremendous peer pressure. But imagine if we get the young men in the church and the men in the church trained to pressure these young people to do better. Because peer pressure can be bad or it can be good. I can pressure you to do something that's good, to show you the way and the path that, it can take to make you successful. So all of we can put things in place. Listen, wherever the drug lord is and the drug dealer is, we can combat what they're doing by us just being trained, by us being encouraged and motivated, empowered to help the young people in our society.
Right. So how can this community help you do what you do to help us?
Well, the truth is, I will love some mentors. We want teachers, we want instructors, we want counselors, we want all these people. I'm coming back to a program in the next week. We open back on tomorrow. So from tomorrow, we're going to be coming back with an inundated amount of young people. I need the support there. If you have financial resources, we know that's a cliche word about the place, but if you can, we appreciate it very much. But we need resources. We need people to come alongside us to help us. We need the churches to wake up and get people empowered as well. So pastors call, get the people in the churches to train your people. And those are some of the solutions we could have.
Sandy, you're right. Some of the parents themselves are not equipped to help the child. They are also their children's friends living the same life.
Yeah, because they're so young.
So you're right. And so there are many things that are happening in our community, folks. We should never bury our heads and ignore what we see happening around us. The news spreads it.
Yeah.
And we know what's happening. We say, well, that's someone else's problem. That is our problem as a community. But the drug education and counseling services provides an opportunity for change. And so if you can, how can we reach out again? What's the method by contacting you?
Well, they could contact us at 435-8148.
435-8148
or 250-8148. Or you can go in the phone, but we on social media as well. Just type in drug education and you'll see us there. And you can contact us there. We're also in Robert Street in Bridgetown. We're right by the stoplights there where the buses is parked. We're right there at the stoplights, and you can come and see us right there.
Right. There's hope, folks. There is hope. We can all be a part of the change that we're all actively seeking. And it takes us, every individual. Stop looking for the group. Stop looking for other people to make the change. It's you to make that change. And so you can make that change today by volunteering to be a part of the drug education and counseling services, by saying, I need help myself to be able to know how to better parent a child or other children. How can I be a part of a mentorship program? What training opportunities are available to me as an adult? And so that decision needs to happen soon. So we see the change that we're looking forward to as soon as. And that depends on you. Can you do that? Would you do that? Thank you for doing that. Morning Barbados is right back right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's take a look at the news now. Barbados has recorded 2 road fatalities in the first week of 2026. 2 people are now dead, while 2 others were injured in an incident at Carrington Road, St. Philip, yesterday afternoon. Police Communications and Public Affairs Officer Inspector Brian Brathwaite says the accident, which occurred around 2:45 in the afternoon, involved 2 cars traveling in opposite directions.
Result, 2 occupants of one of those vehicles succumbed to injuries at the scene. 2 other occupants of that said vehicle were transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance, where they are seeking medical attention. The driver of the other vehicle, he received minor injuries, and he has elected to seek private medical attention.
Investigations continue. Acting Inspector Brathwaite also offered condolences to the relatives and friends of the deceased. The police are asking, as I just said, anyone who has any information or who might have witnessed this fatal accident to call 418. That's 416-8200. 416-8200. Member of Parliament for St. Michael Central, Arthur Holder, has officially confirmed this will be his final term representing the constituency. Holder addressed that issue while speaking at his constituency's joint annual Christmas party with St. Michael North East. Standing alongside the Prime Minister, he said the event held special meaning, marking his last as a sitting Member of Parliament. He also voiced his support for prospective BLP candidate Tyra Trotman, who's been canvassing in the constituency for the past year.
Constituents of St. Michael Central have been special and dear to my heart. I have been in this constituency for the last 13 years, and I'm grateful and thankful for them for welcoming me home in their hearts, and they will always remain within my heart. St. Michael Central is special, and it will continue to be a person of interest in St. Michael Central constituency. I have fulfilled my duty, and I'm also happy that I've been walking about this constituency for the last year with Tyra Trotman, who has my full support as the candidate for St. Michael Central whenever the next general election is called.
Residents of St. Michael's South Central are being assured that long-awaited infrastructural movements and improvements are on the way. Member of Parliament Masha Cadell says several roads in the constituency are slated for upgrades under a tenantry road program set to begin later this year. She made the comment on the sidelines of a Christmas party that she held for the children in her constituency.
I know that government intends to have, for example, a new tenantry roads program. Communities like St. Michael South Central must and stand to benefit from that program. That is one that will make sure that some of these smaller roads in areas like Halls Road, Forge Road, Binners Hill, and other places get some attention from the government. And that is not so much a wish, but it is something that I have been given the assurance of, and that will happen in the new year and throughout 2026 and beyond.
Well, Cadell also noted that while some projects are still awaiting government action, community members have already stepped up, taking the initiative to upgrade several spaces on their own.
There's a lot that we have been able to accomplish. The football that we do is not just about running around and playing sports. It's about making sure that children have somewhere to belong. We've also upgraded the 2 pavilions, and we've done that with volunteer and private sector support. So there's quite a bit that we have done on our own.
Well, motorists are today paying a bit more at the pump for gasoline and diesel. But But the price of kerosene and liquefied petroleum gas or cooking gas are down. Gasoline is now selling at $3.88 a litre, an increase of 3 cents. The price of diesel has risen by 9 cents to $3.41 a litre. Kerosene has decreased by 8 cents, moving to $1.48 a litre. And the cooking gas, the 100-pound cylinder, is now $164.14. The 25-pound cylinder, $46.13. The 22-pound cylinder, $40.76. And the 20-pound cylinder, $37.06. The next price adjustment is slated for the 1st of February. Missing former Judge Dr. Sonia Richards has been found. She is safe. Police had said that she was last seen Friday and was reported missing yesterday. But just about 2 hours after that alert was issued to the public, lawmen advised that Dr. Richards has been found. In a video on social media, shortly after, her son Nathan Richards thanked those who have offered assistance in finding her.
I say that my mother has been located and found safely. Thank you so much for all those who have assisted and offered their thoughts and prayers and assistance in regards to resolving this matter. And I wish you and your families a wonderful and prosperous 2026. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, in a brief interview with CBC News, Richards also thanked the Barbados Police Service and everyone who reached out and offered kind words. Neither he nor the police gave details about where Dr. Richards was found or the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. Flying fish may be in short supply, but jacks are plentiful. And fisherfolk at the Barinda Cots Fish Market are urging Barbadians to come out and take advantage of the abundance.
Fish, the only fish that you can get no so sweet and eat. So you come out tomorrow, buckets and pans, and get your Oyster Fish Market, get your jack from 7 o'clock to 7 midnight. No, if you want to find with the silver sand fishing jack, got the jack. I do the jet silver sand fishing, but got the jack. Oysters tomorrow, $4 a pound. You can get a ready clean bag at $25 a bag, which is the 5 pounds. Silver sand jack boat. We can feed people for the next 3 months.
To sports now, Kieran Pollard's Emirates succumbed to a 46-run defeat and surrendered the 2025 IL T20 title, losing to the Desert Vipers in yesterday's final. Set in Tabata at Dubai International Cricket Stadium, skipper Sam Curran, who was the player of the final and the player of the tournament, led with a superb unbeaten 74 off 51 deliveries, striking 8 fours, 2 sixes to propel the Vipers to a formidable 182 for 4. Fazal Haq Farouji took 2 wickets and Pollard and Romario Shepherd went wicketless. The Vipers bowlers then took charge with Naseem Shah and David Payne taking 3 wickets apiece to restrict the Emirates to 136 all out off 18.3 overs. Pollard made 28, Fletcher 10, Shepherd 1. Take a look at the highlights. And that's a look at news until now. We'll have more news right here on TV8 coming up at 12 noon. Morning Barbados is back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The Morning Barbados news is brought to you by Jordan Supermarkets Spend and Eat 2025 competition.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scold, a look into the future.
Our world today is not the world God wants it to be. One of the reasons, which will surprise many, is that our planet, its governments, and its peoples are all living under the weight of Satan's rule. From the beginning of mankind's existence to today, human history is the written record of what it means to live under the rule of the devil. Yet that rule is coming to an end, and what a difference that will make.
Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on CBC TV 8, tune in for Tomorrow's World, sponsored by the Living Church of God.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
God will not give you a job.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 15 minutes after 7 o'clock now on this Monday morning as people get up to get going, to get back to work, to get to teachers, to school. Tomorrow, school starts for the children in earnest, and so traffic, folks, traffic. It is going to test your patience, I'm telling you. And so in testing your patience, we want you also to remember to be road smart. Be respectful of how we use our roads, how other people use the roads as well. So let's be patient. But news coming into us, and we take a look now, if we can, at an accident at the Chickmount roundabout there in Christchurch. Take a look at this. Okay. Yes, I see. And the car has run off the road. That's what we're saying. So, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. What happened? How do you explain this? How does one explain this? As if it's just I don't even know how to explain this. Wire hoisted his car into the air. Do you see this? So folks, this is not a prank. This is for real. So this is what happened there at the Chickmount roundabout this morning. The blue car has found its way onto the compound where a fast food restaurant is anticipated to be developed. And this is now heading, as if we're heading into town. This is the view that we're taking now. And then lo and behold, look. That's what we've now found. It looks as if, I don't know, somebody got trapped in wires and it just, You can imagine that going to work this morning, and this is what you see. So just be mindful of road usage. This gentleman is trying his level best, but he has to be very careful as well. With downed wires, you've got to be careful what you're touching. So, sir, or anyone else, be very, very careful. Call the authorities and let them deal with that situation. But that took me by surprise. And I'm not laughing at it, but I'm just surprised that, that actually happened. But for those of you going by and taking our roads today, please, 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 please be very, very careful. Be very careful. Be slow down, in other words. Let others move by. Sometimes avoid an accident. It takes nothing off of you to do so. Avoid the accident. See, that just reminded me actually on the weekend, taking the roundabout there by Garfield Sobers roundabout, and I was on, there are two lanes. I'm heading north. There are two lanes, the inside lane next to the median, and I'm on the next lane, and the third lane would take you as if you're going on towards Rendezvous. So I'm in that middle lane, so to speak, and I'm going around the roundabout. And lo and behold, to my left came a man who decided perhaps I was going too slowly, or that he needed to get farther ahead of me, and then I realized he was racing with the guy who was on my right. And there was I almost sandwiched in the middle. That was stupid. I'll say it for what it is. That was stupid and reckless. And so for those of you driving like that on our roads, you need to check yourself. Just adjust accordingly. Protect yourself, protect others as well. Enough of my sermon for today, because I'm joined by members of the National Council on Substance Abuse. This is Drug Awareness Month. I'm joined by the Deputy Manager himself in Troy. Let me get the name, Troy Wickham.
Troy Wickham.
Yeah, it's still you, Troy. Good one to see you. And my good girl, Nicolette Williams, who is a psychologist and a youth adolescent specialist as well, right?
Yes.
Good to have both of you indeed.
Thank you.
Happy Drug Awareness Month, if one could say so.
Thank you.
What's the theme, Troy?
The theme for Drug Awareness Month is NCSA Strengthening Prevention. Let me start by wishing Barbados a Happy New Year, and wishing you, Pearson, a Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
And it's a pleasure to be here once again to tell you a bit about Drug Awareness Month, our activities, and the importance of drug prevention.
We don't want to forget the importance of it.
Yes.
So I'll start with, what are you now seeing that caused the association pause?
For us, we continue to see more young males especially presenting themselves to drug treatment facilities, as well as coming into contact with the criminal justice system. We are also seeing a slow diversification of the local drug situation, where new drugs are entering the market. And for the most part, these drugs are somewhat unregulated. They're not illegal as well. We like to call them legal highs. And they're dangerous because many treatment facilities and professionals do not know how to treat them, and do not know to recognize the signs and symptoms associated with using no drugs as well. So it's important that we get that as much information out there as possible, especially around Drug Awareness Month, to heighten the awareness around all substances, traditional and non-traditional substances as well.
Let me be clear. There's some drugs that are being abused, some legal drugs that are being abused, and that escapes the eye of
the general public or parent. For example, the NCSA, we issued an alert, what we call a drug alert, in September of last year, where a person was actually selling candy, what we call candy or honey candy, on the shelves, where any random person can walk into this convenience store, take it up off the shelf, and it was a dangerous substance. It was what we call a semi-synthetic cannabinoid, and it's a dangerous substance, and it has been recently banned in Europe and North America. And for us, things like this is a real concern for places like the NCSA.
So how do you fix that? Is it a case it was banned elsewhere and yet still it was imported? Lack of information, lack of information, lack of ignorance, literally ignorance. So when you receive at the NCSA those kinds of alerts, or the Ministry of Health, for instance, how quickly or soon after is it activated so that all parties are aware?
We try to activate messages very soon. There is a process where we actually have a team, what we call a technical oversight team, that's made up of treatment professionals as well as persons in what we call supply control, mainly law enforcement. We meet once the drug is tested, scientifically tested by the forensic center, and confirmed to contain these mind-altering substances. We then speak to our minister and issue an alert as soon as possible. Sometimes it can be a week, maybe 10 days most.
And because all of us respond differently to stimulants, you know, nobody knows for sure how it would impact one versus the other. And so we see a sweetie, the child sees a sweetie, I would say, just how we say it in Barbados, and you pop it in, and you go ahead, and then you can't understand why the child is suddenly rolling up on the ground or foaming at the mouth and the like.
Exactly. And this is a common occurrence. Again, vapes. Vaping is becoming very popular, especially in the younger demographic. You, a parent, may see your child with what we call a flash drive. And that is a device you actually input into your computer that just save information. But in some instances, it's a vaping machine, a vaping device.
A vaping pen.
A vaping pen.
You saw my reaction on my face.
Yes.
And it sells here.
It sells here on the shelf. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And those things, because again, lack of information, your child can engage a parlance, fox you, trick you, and they know you don't know, you're not aware, and they have these things in plain sight. They're hiding in plain sight. But these things are basically dangerous devices to have, especially for the younger demographic, because the law is clear as it relates to young persons and tobacco products. The sale, using tobacco products is clear, but then again, through ignorance and not having the correct information, it can lead to destruction.
We've come so far over the years, decades now, in pushing the message about not abusing alcohol, not abusing tobacco, all of those kinds. We talked a lot about this. But somehow, as you said, people are finding clever and creative ways of dealing with this now. And we were talking about vaping there just now. So some people think it's really cool.
Very.
It's really cool just to do that.
It was initially marketed as a safer alternative to smoking tobacco. But the jury's out. In some instances, some research indicates it's more dangerous than actually smoking tobacco products. And the thing is, these vaping devices can contain, you have liquids that are cannabinoids. They try to have what we call candy flavor stuff like strawberry and
banana,
cherry to attract the young person. And I always say, if you have a young customer, more than likely you have a customer for life.
Yep.
And these it's unfortunate that these companies and these, like they call it, unscrupulous characters actually market these things to our young people. And then these behaviors become normalized. Which is very dangerous.
It's dangerous. Then it always puts pressure on the NCSA, because I don't think it could get further ahead, but to follow up fast enough, to put something in place to be able to fix this. What's this general strategy? Is there a written approach that when a matter arises that you guys activate in a particular way?
Yes, we try to be, again, that's why our team is strengthening prevention. The good old Bajan saying prevention is better than cure. And we always try to be ahead of the curve, utilizing research, best practices from either locally or regionally or internationally. And we start with the primary schools. We have several programs in our primary schools, and we start from as early as years 5, giving them basic information about chemicals around the homes, what is dangerous, labels, how to read labels, etc. And then we actually have programs in our secondary schools. It's important, though, that one must understand we must find alternatives to substance use or anything to wholesome behavior. I heard my friend from Roger Husbands speaking about keeping children active and the role of other communities, groups. And that's important. You must find alternatives for young people to engage in wholesome activities. And we at the NCSA, through our programming, and our programming is based on evidence-based stuff, or research, evidence-informed activities where we're actually going to set up programs to combat these substance use or to delay the onset, because as you may or may not know, teenage years are very hard to navigate.
Interesting.
Yeah, very hard to navigate. And I like to be frank. Young person like to fit in. And we can't get away from that. Like to move what they consider as the cool group or what seems to be cool. So therefore, with the temptation out there to engage in substance use and abuse, because we may be hanging out, my friends smoking, they're drinking, and it seems to look cool. And the social media has exacerbated this thing as well, because everything on social media is about partying and drinking and looking cool and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate, but we cannot give up. As the National Council on Substance Abuse, it's important to give persons the facts, let them make the choice.
Nicola, I haven't forgotten you.
That's no problem.
Trust me, I haven't.
Yeah.
But Troy, I don't with you yet either. Because I know you guys did a study recently, which surprised a lot of people.
They did.
The information that flowed from that study surprised a lot of people. So would you mind reminding us of the highlights of that study and what the ones that really concern the National Council on Substance Abuse?
The study indicated again that our local drug situation and persons are engaging in being exposed to substances younger and younger. And that is a concern for us at the NCSA, where persons admit to smoking or using cannabis or having an alcoholic beverage at age 7. And the earlier you engage in any substance use, you get appetite for these substances, and it can lead to problematic use in adulthood.
Yep.
And that is a concern for us at the NCSA, and a serious concern. And as I said, these new unregulated substances as well is a serious concern as well, because in more than 9 out of 10 times we don't know how to treat them.
And it presents in schools.
Yes.
Because young people neglect coming to play here. And
definitely.
as a psychologist, what do you see to be the ways that the young people are acting out this abuse?
Well, what we see in the secondary schools program that we follow through with under Substance Abuse Foundation, Verdun and Marina, a lot of young people, as Troy said, are very much, they want to be a part of the do. But the acting out looks very much like dishonesty, erratic behavior, very much impulsive behavior as well, a lot of wandering on the streets, a lot of physical aggression towards parents, towards teachers, and towards self, as well as self-harm. So we're getting a lot of those signs and those behaviors in the schools, in the homes, and then a lot of families are calling our hotline at Substance Abuse Foundation for persons like myself and other team members to facilitate sessions for these youngsters. And then we at Verdun and Marina, being a treatment rehabilitation center, we are like the backbone, we are the treatment and the prevention. So when these youngsters, men and women, come to us, we then have to foster and create therapeutic programs for them to not go backwards and have some sense of hope and meaning for them.
And that's why I'd love to hear from you. I have to take a break. See,
Sure.
when I want to come back, I want to hear how do you get in there and stitch and then stitch back up the mind so that this child becomes a more wholesome individual. We'll deal with that when we come right back after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it, to make it happen. He will give you the resources, he'll give you the people. Not only will he equip you with ideas, but he will equip you with favor, as he did Nehemiah.
Turn on the latest episode of Infinite Possibilities, only on CBC TV8, every Sunday at 1:30 p.m., sponsored by Covenant Life Teaching Center.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about Solar Ray Microbiome Probiotics and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount. Sponsored by Get Healthy.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 29 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock on this Drug Awareness Month. It's already the 5th of January, so we're 5 days in, but we have time still for you folks. So really pay attention to how we as a community and as a society can begin to stem the flow of drugs into our access to our children in the end. So Nicolette Williams is with me, and we were just talking about psychologically how the child is impacted, and how do you then, as a practitioner, the professional in all of this, get in there as a psychologist, get in there and remap that brain?
Well, a lot of children who are under the influence, you can't target why they're using the influence first, because it's hard for them to articulate or verbalize what's happening. So a lot of nonverbal therapies I use with them first in order to decompress, deconstruct, to help them then get to a place of expressing the why behind they use the substance, the influence why they're using the substance, and possibly where they get the substance. Because then we have to then contact persons at NCSA to say, go and get it, right? And then the police department, etc. So a lot of, yes, as you said, stitching and unstitching. So the unstitching looks like a lot of nonverbal therapies, a lot of nonverbal interventions, because young people really don't like to talk first about what they're going through. So you have to meet them where they're at. And if they're playing, I go and play with them. If they're drawing, I go and draw with them. And then my questions, my therapeutic questions, then start to unstitch while they're in that modality, while they're in that playfulness or that forum, to help them then get to a place of telling me, feeling comfortable, confident, telling me what's really happening. And when you really get to the root cause, a lot of it is because of feeling abandoned by parents, feeling left out from friends, feeling misunderstood. Some of them may have some learning challenges, and they're like, why am I like this and my other friends aren't like this? So we then target some teachers when we go using our Teen Intervene program in the secondary schools and primary schools alongside NCSA, where we work with the teachers, because those children are the ones that are also using substances like cigarettes. The cigarettes that the parents leave on the table, they go and hide and take those cigarettes, the end of the cigarette, and use it. And they come to school and they're erratic, and the teacher is like, what's happening? But then those are children who have learning disabilities, reading disabilities. So you want to target the why behind it and give them a sense of purpose and meaning while trying to understand what's really happening with them.
You go into the deep, dark recesses of those little children's minds.
Yes, please.
What scares you most when you get down there?
That they are alone. That they are alone. That's the truth. They're alone. And then it makes me personally feel like I need to be there. But I can't really be there, because then I have to create a holistic approach in creating a space for the parents, the families, the teachers to come and be with that child, to help that child understand that they're not alone. But really and truly, when we get down in there, it's them feeling very alone, the teenager as well. Hence a lot of wild behavior, hence a lot of erratic behavior. They just feel alone. And we really have to create spaces for these teenagers, as Mr. Husband said recently before us, that they feel like they are well empowered. If we don't do that, we're going to get what we see now, especially in our crime department.
In that darkness, I think there's a search for self.
Of course.
In that search for self, you look for your own definition in other people and other places and other things.
And that's where
And that's where I know that's part of the challenge that NCSA has as well.
Yes, for us, we try to mentor young persons as much as possible. We have mentorship programs. We also conduct group programs as part of our counseling department, where we actually meet these young persons, have positive influencers with them, engagement and activities. It's important that you find positive persons or positive role models to guide these young persons, both males and females. Though we have recognized that young males are at the forefront of substance use and abuse, we are seeing more females, especially young females, engaging in substance use and abuse. And it's unfortunate, because there's a stigma, especially for females who engage in substance use and abuse, where they don't want to present themselves to treatment for various reasons, being single parents, being frowned upon by various communities. And these are some of the barriers that actually stop females from seeking treatment. And for us, that is a concern as well, because 9 out of 10 times, most families in Barbados are single parent families, and the females are the head of the households. So then when you see your mother struggling with addiction, what do you do as a teenager? What do you do as a young person? And for a face like Troy to come into my school to say, well, look, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Drugs can harm you. But then I'm suffering in silence. And then I lash out. And then it's unfortunate that the school system in most instances do not know how to manage that young person.
Nicolette, Troy asked the question, what do I do? What do you say?
I love that person. Well, what I would say is to the parent or the guardians in the home, if you don't pay attention, then you're going to miss the signs of that child and their behavior and their using. If it is that the parent, whether male or female, is using, other family members need to now take up that mantle and take responsibility of that child, as well as simultaneously allow that parent that is using to go and get help. Now, we know it's very hard. We know the stereotype, and I can say that we have been in conversations with the psychiatric hospital to kind of reduce that stereotype of going to the psychiatric hospital. We at Verdun and Marina, because we do understand that it's a big thing. So conversations are happening right now in 2026 to help destigmatize that. And I want to say, to add to what Troy is saying, we at Verdun and Marina, we have recovering clients and we have current clients that are trying to get help, that we do take them into the schools to give a more real life conversation with those students, because they also need the real-time conversations. And our clients, our recovering past clients, our current clients, they tell them as it is. And it does create a level of fear, but not fear in a bad way, fear for them to be like, oh, wow, this is what I need to look at. Again, look at the signs and symptoms. Teachers to be aware, because our clients, our past clients, they were misled, they were overlooked, etc. So we are now also facilitating and empowering our clients to go into the communities to create a space for children to know what it looks like, the signs and symptoms of drug use.
So much to talk about in so little time.
I know.
Troy, quickly, the programs that you guys offer and just a snapshot of what the month of activities look like.
Okay, let me start with the month of activities.
Sure. Do you want to use my calendar?
No, it's all up here. Let me say that on the 11th of January, we're having a church service at the First Baptist Church. I'm inviting all the Barbadians to come and worship with the NCSA and Substitute Foundation in town, Constitution Road. The church services begins at 10 in the morning, 10 a.m. Come. It's important to start on the right foot. I like to call it the right foot with worship. And then we have what we call a faith-based intervention, a workshop, where we have invited Christians, Christian denominations, to come and learn from us how they can assist us in the communities, in the various communities, with drug education, drug counseling, etc. And we are partnering with the Organization of American States, who's coming to Barbados to help us facilitate this workshop, this 3-day workshop. So that is very important for us. We are actually trying to engage the church community, the faith-based community. So that is very important, and that's from the 14th through to the 16th. We are also having what we call an early warning system workshop.
Move this.
Move it. We have an early warning system workshop where we are actually looking to find ways that we can build out and strengthen our early warning system, and that will be held on the 23rd.
Yes.
On the 23rd. Then we're moving from there. On the 30th, we have our very popular speech contest, where we have young persons from various secondary schools coming to giving 3-minute speeches on various drug topics. And that is important. And we use that information to help with our programming as well, because it's coming directly from them. And they're utilizing research, whether it be local research or regional research. And then we have our very important food drive, which is the 31st. It automatically Thursday.
Well done, Troy.
So I just want to add that on the 31st, on the 10th, we have, before the church service, we have our hike with the Hikers Association. So we're calling out everyone to come to Verdun Marina on the 10th at 6 a.m. to start a beautiful hike on the East Coast. It's a recovery hike, and it's not just for past clients and current clients, but it's for you, a sense of recovery. What does that look like? And on the 31st at the Frank Collima Hall, we have our music, our Calypso Jazz night, which it's beautiful with music and meaning. You're going to get past clients, persons in recovery. You're going to get the beautiful songstress and songsters of Barbados coming to soothe your soul through jazz and calypso at Frank Collima Hall.
Well done as well.
Yes.
So, folks, there's a lot.
Yes.
A lot is happening.
So much so we have to have them back.
Yes.
So they're going to come back as we continue to fill out your lack of information as well, as we all tackle this indeed together as a community this Drug Awareness Month. Thank you, Troy Wickham, Deputy Manager of the National Council on Substance Abuse. You're very welcome. Nicolette Williams, who is a psychologist, but she works with Verdun and Marina Houses as well. Thank you so much for joining us, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Person.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Morning Barbados is back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about Solar Ray microbiome probiotics and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV 8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount, sponsored by Get Healthy Incorporated.
98.1 The One, your number one party station. With an audience from 18 to 40, we keep you engaged, energized, and entertained. Choose 98.1 FM, The One.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling
morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yes, I know I said last year I ain't posting no more sex videos, but that's last year. So in Oklahoma, you get these spot here, the Red Bar. It's now 8 o'clock in the morning, and yes, I go for my selfie first Saturday morning. So they go here, look. See, they make great. I doing a video here. My first sauce for the year. Yeah. First sauce for the year, boy. Come in the shop and come and order your sauce. Morning. Yeah, the sauce ready. Sauce ready. You see? All this sauce ready for the year. Sauce. A first. Could stop me, can't stop me. First. Right. Let me make it make sense. The perfect Heidi Red Bar. And first sauce of the year. Look, never disappoint me yet. You see what we got here? You see what Mark? Plate. I guess my friend Claire Sargent and her friends yesterday, they had a cruise on our glass bottom boat in Chamonix too. And I said, Chef, can't hold this sorrow. Oh Lord, it's spilling. Me ain't care. Spiked sorrow. Sauce and sorrow. Sauce and spiked sorrow. So guys, check out Perfect Honey Red Bar in Oklahoma. On Monday, we're going to Dev's Bar in Fall Bay for some rabbit sauce. Sorry, pickle rabbit. Cause somebody tell me pickle and sauce in the same thing. Peppery. Enjoy when they're there.
Lordy, he didn't expect that at all this morning. Adrian Cumberbatch is with me, folks. Executive chef and also the man who, you're the director of Cook Caribbean as well, right?
Yes, please, yes.
Why didn't you expect that this morning?
I don't know. I didn't expect to come here and see a sauce.
Sauce first, everything else after.
Correct.
And today's rabbit sauce?
Rabbit sauce at Deb's Bar in Phobia.
Rabbit?
Rabbit and ham sauce I had last week, man.
Ham sauce? I mean, ham is pig.
Yeah.
Pork. Well,
yeah.
they've got different types of ham, but that's the kind of ham you're talking about, right?
Correct. The Christmas ham.
Oh,
Deb
really?
is put it alongside the rabbit, man. Mm-hmm.
What does it taste like? Ham?
It tastes like pickled ham. It tastes like if you just bake the ham and add a pickle on top of it. But the rabbit.
So you say. Could you trick me into eating rabbit meat?
For sure.
How?
You won't have a clue.
I wouldn't?
No.
If I ate
Curry,
rabbit by itself, what would it taste like?
Chicken. The only way you would know the difference because the bones inside are finer.
Mm-hmm.
But if we give you boneless rabbit, cut up, you would think it's chicken breast.
Okay. Trick me one day.
I tell you, you will get tricked. You will get.
But Adrian, hear this. This is your life.
Yes, please.
Who would have thought that boy who went to school at CP would be living this life?
True. I love it. I love cooking from my grandmother days. I used to watch my mom and my grandmother cooking a lot. You know, and that's what missed it. For me now, the youngsters, that camaraderie in the neighborhoods. Where your neighbor got yams and sweet potatoes and growing their own food and pigs and exchanging and the fish coming up from the beach, you flying fish by thousands coming to the beach, and you know, food is that excite me. It's just that excite me, you know, especially our culture.
Yeah. And it wasn't simply because you were a licorice fella. you actually are enjoying the structure, the preparation and everything that's about food.
Correct. You know, starting from scratch, thinking what our foreparents learned, even further back into slavery and history, or bring it right up to continuing traditions. Because in 20 years, most of our traditions are going to run away, you know. They're gone.
True. That's true.
Especially our national dish, because it's very expensive to buy. The flatfish alone.
Yes.
So after a while, it's going to change. Even with sauce and the persons that making the sauce, the food costs of pork. You know, a lot of people don't factor in food costs. So they realize that I'm working hard on Saturdays and let's turn it tot in mud. You know, I can stop this here, making any sense. Yeah. Then you get less and less places making these things.
So we're pricing ourselves out of that.
Correct.
But
definitely.
what is it being replaced with?
Fast food. Fast food. It's convenient. It's right in your face every single day, and it's unhealthy.
Is there a way to do Bajan fast food then, or fast food? This is Bajan. I still think at the end of the day you're using Bajan products.
Yes, cuckoo and flying fish could be fast food. It could be fast food if it's priced reasonably. You know, all the subsidiaries for the fishermen go to there catching flying fish. It's every week or every 2 days the prices go up for fish every single day. So they're definitely going to be a troublesome waters soon, as I see in it. I shop every single day, so I compare prices. And I look at last week you go to the supermarket, see a price of something costs $2.50. This week it's $3.10 fast. So that's going to outprice our market very soon.
You ever got tired of cooking?
Nah.
At any time at all? Like I want a break from this?
What's the pain on? But no, I don't. I like creating. I like that video there was it caused a lot of discussion around the world. Right. Especially now working along with the National Nutrition Center, the Ministry of Health, the NCF. Pushing a lot of healthier living in schools, giving back to the schools and ensuring. I have some videos coming out with some breadfruit cuckoo and some mackerel with the National Nutrition Center and the cuckoo. You know, the health benefits of a lower price dish that you could incorporate into your meals. So those videos are going to be coming out very shortly.
And breadfruit cuckoo is one of them?
Yes, please. And they've done it with milk. So the nutritionists will give you all the health benefits of these items, using less butter, using less salt, because you still want the persons to be able to afford it.
Right.
As I mentioned before, these things are becoming expensive. We're going to talk breadfruit at $5, $6, $7 for breadfruit. You understand? So we're trying to do things that are reasonably cost that persons can still afford and eat healthy.
Has saltfish moved to a price point where it's becoming difficult to purchase?
Yes, it is.
And I love
Everything is
saltfish.
coming from overseas. Remember, our import bill is very high.
Mhm.
So the more tariffs put on, it's going to trickle right down to us. So it definitely will be.
So how do you keep your cooking simple that is accessible?
Going back to 100% Bajan, your roots, trying to buy at least 90% homegrown items, supporting the locals, and then you will work on your bargains here without having to come the taxes in the port. Once you eliminate the port, and then a lot of people don't know where this food coming from. Oh, this is fresh food. This may be picked 6 months ago and went on a port from one port to the next port before it reached Barbados, in the supermarkets, and then into your home. So if you eliminate all that, you go straight to the supplier, like Edgecombe Plantation or these plantations, but your sweet potatoes and yams and edos, you definitely see a reduction in your costs.
They probably get excited when they see you coming.
For sure.
So there are things like gluts and then there's scarcity. How do you deal with that and still keep your menu interesting?
That's history. So you will look and see there's a pattern of how things are grown, how things are being shipped. There's a pattern. So you will know the influx, the gluts, and then you will know that, okay, see this time coming up, we will have a shortage of breadfruits. So let me stock up early, or we could buy accordingly. So that's how you really even out your pricing. And I would like all of my food establishments to do a course on food costing. It helps. Cause most of the places they visit, what they do is just, he's selling at $20, they sell him for $20.
Yeah.
That's a Bajan thing. Or everybody's selling sauce at $20, so they sell them at $20. But the average, if you look at cost, $9.50 a pound of pork. A man box is going to £1.50 a pork. That's nearly $14, $15 already in cost, in raw costs. And then add the cucumbers are expensive, the parsley, the limes, the container. So for me, when I work out the cost, a sauce supposed to be selling at $30, $35 for the average person to be able to continue it down the line.
We'll take a break. I want to hear from you, though, how innovative you've become over the years, because a chef is a chef is a chef, food is food is food, but you found a cute and interesting way to do what you do. And we'll talk about that right after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scold, a look into the future.
Our world today is not the world God wants it to be. One of the reasons which will surprise many is that our planet, its governments, and its peoples are all living under the weight of Satan's rule. From the beginning of mankind's existence to today, human history is the written record of what it means to live under the rule of the devil. Yet that rule is coming to an end. and what a difference that will make.
Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on CBC TV 8, tune in for Tomorrow's World.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I'm here with Adrian Cumberbatch, who is the executive chef and the director of Cook Caribbean. Remember, there's rabbit sauce today. Where again?
Deb's Bar in Full Bay.
In Full Bay, St. Philip. But you know, you've traveled across the Caribbean, tasting and trying different foods and so forth. Have you found the thing that makes you unique?
I don't think not as yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But you're still searching.
Still searching.
How do you get your name and brand out, though?
Marketing. I deal with a lot of youths. That's our mantra. Planting seeds, not trimming trees. So we deal with youths between 8 to 21 years old from our summer cooking camps and everything. So parents seeing me and they, I want to send my daughter or my son to cooking camp. It's not a regular camp, or not a regular cooking program where children running boat, or there's nothing wrong with that, but learn something different. You know, I always want my students to learn that, appreciate what we have. So I take it to the market, I take it to the grounds to see what yams look like from pulling them from sweet potatoes. So keeping my brand alive and keeping myself out there is again in front of television, in front of social media, and just doing what is missing in Barbados. You know, our promoting, that says Cook Caribbean. The first thing you know is Cook Caribbean. So promoting our products.
I was coming to that because you could, as a chef, an executive chef, you could be cooking European.
Correct.
And making loads of money, but you devote yourself to cooking Caribbean.
Correct. Because I worked all international hotels around the world. I've seen chefs bragging, my French buddies, my grandmother got the best this, or my grandmother, I say, you grandmother, you know mine. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and then I sat one day in 2016 when I was in Trinidad and Tobago living, working in the Hyatt, after we won the competition, I know, like, something actually came to me and said, Adrian, form this company, and you're going to educate, entertain, and to elevate. That's our mission. Education comes first. So we give back to the students, go to all these schools and all that. Entertainment comes with our traveling show. I ate that with Courtney Diana Walker, with being on Mornin Barbados previously too as well, you know. I was going to talk to you about the after to get back to cooking segments, because walking along the streets in Barbados, you hear my friends and my supporters be like, "Wait, come out on TV, like Mr. The Morning Show," you know. So all of that helps me get back into the public's eye and promote the brand and cook Beijing. Promote the Beijing, you know. We're into tourism too, our glass bottom boat and stuff like that. So when tourists come to Barbados, they carry down carrots, they pick the bread fruits and carry up on the beach and roast and jacks and things. You know? And they pay me more than that, they pay the hotel, you know. Yeah. Because that's that experience they want. They want to have that authentic, that rustic, authentic Beijing experience.
And nobody can defeat the Adrian Cumberbatch touch anyway.
Yeah, correct.
That's the added spice right there, right?
Yes,
the
please.
Adrian Cumberbatch taste. And so, Adrian, I want to thank you. I really want to commend you, really, because you've found your unique niche and you work it, my brother. You work it. And of course, you're a product of Coleridge Paris School.
Definitely.
I mean, hello.
Hello.
Duh. Indeed. And so I wish you all the best with
Thank you very
endeavors,
much.
my friend.
Thank you, same to you as well.
As always.
Thanks.
And that's it. I thank you two folks for joining us right here on Morning Barbados today. My little crew joins me in saying to all of you, have a great today. Be the will of the Lord. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados.